This for sure will be one of my most usable decks because I use the deck Anna quite a lot. So while I was in Moscow, I ordered a deck on He. It's by Kamila Kruger, paintings by Victoria Kirdi, one of my favorite Russian painters. They were wrapped in this plastic wrap. So this deck is a male version of the deck Anna She, which became really popular among mark therapists and different people who work with metaphorical cards. So you can find here some information in Russian, a few exercises. I usually don't read such manuals, but I will take a look at them later. And here are the cards. So the cards are kind of big. They are a little bit too big for my hands for tossing them. But it's a nice size to lay out on the table, and especially if you work with kids or even if you work online, because they are bigger and easy to see. Okay, so I don't know how many cards. Again, in each video I want to emphasize how I like when people put the amount of cards on the deck or somewhere very close. You see, I can't even find how many cards there are in the deck. I suppose it's in the description. Anyways, let's look for the deck. There are different images. There are images with men, with boys of different ages. There are even images with girls and heroes like Pinocchio, Barabbas, also some pets. I really love how skillfully and in a cute way they include different pets in the images. So you can also work with the inner child, both men and women, I would say, as well. And you know, some people were born in a family where parents expected or really wanted to have a child of a different gender. And for example, girls and women may feel as if they are boys or as if they are supposed to be boys. So those decks, and this deck especially, can be a great deck to work with such things, you know, because you can see kids of different gender here. So also you can find lots of different pets, and moods also differ, but still there is a positive and tender touch in the deck. You can work with the inner child, you can work with real children, and you can work with adults as well. So there are 13 cards which are vertical, and the rest are horizontal cards. Overall, I have to say I'm totally in love with this deck. I was debating whether to buy it now or later, and I'm really happy that I purchased it now in Moscow. So I'm really happy that there are images also with women or sometimes couples or some families as well. There are lots of images with children and even some pets. So there are tons of material to work with, both with kids and adults. I can say that this deck will be one of my top favorite decks to work with. Not only I'm super fond of this style of painting, and they kind of raise, you know, the mood and uplift you, but also they touch upon some things. Like there was a picture, if I can find it, like even this one, say this could be potentially about smoking, right, or something like not doing what you're supposed to do, or whatever other topic, but overall it's not as negative, so you can drag out of it some resources as well. Look at this is just gorgeous. Anyways, they are super cute. The only thing what I don't like is that they are not rounded up. Like, I'm not saying they should be super round, but it's just a little bit sharp, you know, the edges. But in a way, because the images are so pretty, like I really like that they are big. Maybe someday Victoria and Camila will do a version which is smaller, like the poker size version. However, this deck is quite light, you know, as many decks Издательство Речь. I noticed that they make it from some material which makes them lighter. Even though they are glossy and they're kind of fairly durable, it's I like this type of decks because you can take a few decks rather than just one, because some cards are super heavy. This is also an example of a pet family, you know, you can really use it in work. So I love it. There's even Pinocchio, which is a fantastic idea. There's so much, you know, behind this work to figure out what to put on the pictures. I am amazed at the level of material, what they offer. And also I want to say a separate thank you for making this deck really affordable, because it costs from 500 to about 900 rubles. That's probably about maybe 15 to 20 Canadian dollars. And that's, I think, is reasonable for this amount of cards. I also like the box. It's light but durable. When you buy a lot of decks, it really matters how much they cost. If you have kids, I also would recommend to get this deck, because they have a lot of images you can create stories with, and also you can combine it with the deck Anna She. There are also other decks by the same author and artist, and I have, I think, 4 of them now, so you can even combine them between each other. I feel like it would be nice to have a metaphorical game specifically with these types of images and decks. I don't know if anyone has created it yet, but I will later think how to do that. And now, guys, I would like to offer you an exercise. We will just work with one card this time. We will just dive deeper into this card. And I also recommend you guys to take some notes, whether on a piece of paper or in your phone or a laptop computer. It's just interesting sometimes to come back to them and see how you view the card with a different perspective, because of those cards, they can trigger something different on different days. If your intention is different and if you ask yourself other questions. Take a look at the cards and think of what your general impression is. What are the first associations with the card? So the first question is, how does the heroine feel now? I'll give you some time to think about that and to feel that. You can also pause the video and take more time. And the second question is, where is he or she coming from and where going to? The third question is, what is her attitude, position in life right now? If you're struggling with answering those questions just because maybe it's not a human figure on the card, just pretend that as if you're over there in that place and how you would feel in that position. The fourth question is, what is the hero or heroine holding on to in life right now? The fifth question, how would the hero feel if he or she let go of something which he or she is holding on to? And the sixth question is, what would he or she say if they can speak? There is one more question you can ask yourself as well. It's not on the slides, but I will just explain to you. Look at the card and think of, on a scale from 1 to 10, how satisfied, how happy the hero or heroine is with his or her life. Just the first number which comes into your head. You can think of why also. That's an optional question. And finally, I suggest you to think also if there is anything in common between you and this hero or heroine. Maybe there is a situation in life which kind of resonates with that one way or another, or some trait of character, some kind of associations. It all can give you some insights, and maybe you'll get some answers through this card. And now, finally, think about what can you do to be happier and more content in life. And look at this picture again for ideas and insights, and write down 3 things you can do to be happier and more free. So the first one will be what you will do today. Yes, today. The second one is what you will do within 3 days. And the third one is what you will do within a week. This is actually kind of like a simple example of how we can work with metaphorical associative cards in coaching. It could be life coaching, business coaching, or creative coaching. This video is offered to a broader audience and sort of invisible audience, so I cannot work in the same way how I would do with a client at a real session, whether in person or online. Life coaching sessions usually are for 30 minutes or for 45 minutes maximum, and they can also be shorter than 30 minutes, like 10, 15, or 20 minutes. It really depends on the request, client, and the process itself. I hope you wrote down some insights from this card, and please share in the comments your impressions. And I'm curious if heroine or hero of this image changed anyhow to you right now. And how do you yourself feel after the exercise? I will offer to you some more exercises with this deck, whether on this YouTube channel or in my course. I'm writing a course on metaphorical associative cards. And also, as I mentioned, there is a sister deck to this one, which is called She, Anna, and I think it would be fun someday to combine those decks and do an exercise with both of them. Alright guys, subscribe to my channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, share it with someone who can enjoy it, and I always appreciate your comments. You can't imagine how much comments mean a lot to me, and also for YouTube, because YouTube promotes videos which has comments and likes, so your support means a lot to me. Stay well guys, and I'll see you soon in another video.